So hello everybody and welcome to Beyond Freud. So today we are going to talk about something which is a bit different, but not really that different. The only thing would be that we are not going to be talking about Freud. Rather, we are going to talk about Indian academicians who have commented and researched on mental health. I wanted to start this, you can say almost series, by bringing to you and to myself the work of Bhargavi Davar. Reading her work is also one of the reasons why I thought something like this would really be beneficial for all of us, since we do know a lot of other authors, but sometimes a few of us might somehow skip this literature, and I'm also guilty of it. So this is a good educational series for both you and me. And if you're one of those people who already know all of this, it would be great if you could write any other author or academician that we can look into and read a bit more about mental health in the Indian context, and definitely contemporary researchers would be really great to know about. So Bhargavi Davar was a mental health activist who shared her experience of psychiatric institutions and also the idea of mental health at an intersection of caste, class and gender. She was a proponent of the rights of users in mental health institutions and criticized the medical model of psychiatry, something I feel is very common when we are looking at the field of psychology and especially psychotherapy through a critical lens. So Davar especially fought for psychosocial disabilities and the need to recognize the workings of gendered psychopathology in our conception of what a mental illness is and who is a mentally ill person. So this brought her to the link between women's movement, the law, and mental health. She questioned the notion of mental illness itself and the impact of its definition on laws and policies in India. And when she was writing in 2015, Davar observed how institutions of not only law but also society, family, and others overdetermined the mental health sectors and ground level care practices. So this question stands relevant to all of us even today, because there has been a lot of awareness which is going on. You can find lectures and courses on decolonizing mental health or making it accessible and inclusive of everyone. But Davar's contribution over here really makes an impact, because once you read her work, you realize that what she is observing is how institutional structures operate as the big brother, and how the idea of treatment needs not only a reconsideration in today's environment at what I feel is at the level of the private practitioner, but mainly from institutions themselves. And this means we are talking about hospitals and, more importantly, the government, though we must keep in mind that all of these structures are influencing each other, including the institutions of family and the law. So we can develop this idea of what influences what, or how everybody influences each other, and link it to the notion of criminality, which has already been done by Foucault and many other authors, Davar herself. So over here, but the idea of criminality that I want to bring in is slightly different. So when we look at the Indian context, you have this idea of criminality not just in the courts but also in our value judgments. So our conception of a gender and the framework within which they must operate makes us all judges in our own lives, and when we see someone stepping out of that framework, we become the punishers and we feel like it is our duty to carry out some twisted form of justice. So this has been seen in cases of honor killing, assault, eve teasing, and even public shaming of women. So our understanding of these come from our environment, which then also gets affirmed by who the court punishes and who they don't, and how it gets reflected in the beliefs of popular and authoritarian figures that we follow. And it is very important for us because it is magnified by the fact that we live in a technological age. So this is the effects of power relations between institutions, and it is this that Davar showcases in her work. She writes, "Institution then is not just a physical structure, but also an attitude or an approach towards people that can be found in all kinds of spaces." So Davar's criminality is operating in the context of the mentally ill, where this is not only a legal tag but also a social one. And she observes how it is in the case of women, it's been used as a tactic to get them considered mentally insane for an ease in getting a divorce. So, in everyday conversations as well, a slight deviation from the traditional idea of mother, wife, or woman, it tends to generate a lot of criticism, and it ends with the assertion that this particular person is mad. So, normalcy becomes the standard of measure, which is then used to alienate women from their lived experiences. And Davar argues that we need a critical theorizing of these lived experiences. So, justice and care have an intimate link with each other, in that Davar's own experience and fieldwork showed that there has not been much support once the legal apparatus enters the area of mental health. And this also brought her to the idea of what it is like to live with a psychosocial disability. Lastly, Davar has also written about the idea of identity in this context, and she puts forward a very interesting notion of individuals who may not seek expertise with regard to their issues, and even those individuals who do not seek to create an identity around their mental disorder. With regard to these, Davar is exploring the everydayness of emotional suffering and the choices that come with it. And she engages with these choices while considering them legitimate, but again, she engages with them and tries to understand that person's choice and how it is going to reflect in the bigger political picture. We'll end here now with regard to Bhargavi Davar, and I hope this video has been informational to you as much as it has been informational for me to research on this. If there is any particular author that you would like me to look into also, that would also be great. I'm always open to recommendations. The comment section is also open for the same. And if you like, do like and subscribe it, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.